Stan and Stan, once again, will not be joining us for this review because he is still elsewhere, and will still be elsewhere for quite a while, actually. So this review will consist of just my voice once again, which I think is going to be interesting. Based on what I have read in the comments of our reviews of the two previous films in this series, Twilight and New Moon, I think people have been wanting me to sort of separate my views from Stan's because they tend to get a little intermingled and people don't really seem to know who thinks what, and so maybe it's for the best this time. But I did want to make the announcement that in light of Stan and Stan's absence, I will be bringing in a new guy, Temporary Ryan. He'll be reviewing with me occasionally, though since he's not a roommate, it won't be as frequent as Stan used to review with me. But we will be reviewing the new Predators movie in just a few days, so that will be very interesting. So now on to my review of Eclipse, which I saw yesterday and forgot today. No, I'm just kidding. Most people have an opinion of this film series that is either on one end of an extreme or another. The fangirls, I'm going to say girls because this is predominantly directed at them, would love this series, defend this series, it's great, it's wonderful, magnificent. Pretty much everyone else just puts these in the category of just horrendous films that need to, fall in a hole and, go to hell for all they care. It's horrible, it's awful, it's the worst thing they've ever seen in their life. If you've been following my reviews, you will know that this film series has never either positively nor negatively impressed me. And this follows suit of those two reviews. It's not that I hate the films, it's not that I love the films, it's that I just don't care. And I guess if there is a heavy criticism that I would levy against this film series, it's that they've never done anything in their series to make me care. Now, whether or not that's due to the fact that I'm not the target demographic or they're doing something wrong, I really don't know, because I'm just not interested enough in this film series or, the controversy surrounding it. It's pop garbage, it's not pop garbage. I just want to stay out of it. I am so lethargic when it comes to this topic. I feel like telling people, if you don't like... the good news is, if you don't like this film series, wait 5 years. Because no one will ever remember it after 5 years. It's your typical fad. It's just going to go away. Why even waste your time, hating on this? But I will say that I did, as I was sitting there watching this movie, I realized something. These are boring films. I said that about the last two, but the difference is I watched the last two films on DVD, and I was able to take breaks, and I took frequent breaks. This is the first one I ever saw in the theater because I went with my girlfriend to see it, and you can't take breaks. And when you can't take breaks, man, you really realize how boring these damn movies are. And the thing that really bothers me about these movies, I was finally able to put my finger on it as I was sitting there watching this. The screenplays of these films do not play like screenplays. They play like what would happen if you were invited into a girl's room and she wanted to act out one of her romantic fantasies via her Barbie dolls for you. And the characters in this movie and the chemistry and substance that they have is about on that line of someone just playing with their Barbie dolls. I mean, the thing that, I say that I'm not the target and so I'm just going to stay out of it, and whatnot, but I will say this. They have had 3 films now, and in 3 films, they have never given us one single impression or indication as to why these two guys, Edward and Jacob, like this girl. I mean, there's never any single piece of dialogue to say, this is what I like about her, this is what makes her different from all other girls. I mean, these guys are just pining over this girl, and we have no idea why. It's written in the dialogue, so that's the way they feel about her. None of the characters have any substance. None of them are particularly interesting. And I suppose this film series is starting to bother me a little bit more as a result, because it's film number 3, and they're not making them any more interesting, and we're not learning anything else about them. I will say that we do learn a few things in this movie that we didn't know in the previous 2. They actually take time out to give a backstory to 3 specific cases. They go back and tell the story of this Indian tribe, which I thought was more interesting than staring at the wall, at least. There's a backstory as to one of the female vampires whose name I can't remember, and a backstory regarding a character named Jasper. It's actually 2 characters, Jasper and Alice. And little fun fact, I actually had to stop the recording and ask my girlfriend what their names were because I could not remember. But their story was actually kind of interesting as they started, playing that tape back and telling us what happened to this guy. Their story, all of the backstories in this movie are more interesting than the movie we're actually watching, and many of the characters that those backstories deal with are more interesting than the characters that we're having to, put up with as this movie is going on. God, is this boring? I mean, that's it. That's about all I could. I never even know what to say about these movies. I was bored. I'm going to have to loosely quote Richard Roper in something he said about a Rob Schneider movie. Eclipse was in color, it was mostly in focus, and that's about all I had to say about it. It seems to me that the strategy that they're going for with regard to the screenplay, and maybe this was the strategy with regard to the book too, I don't know, is pretty much just the basic romance novel formula where you're substituting character depth and definition with dialogue that sounds good. And that might be appropriate for a romance novel kind of thing that this movie was, but it doesn't do anything for me. I would rather see characters. I don't know why, with all of the supposed mythology that they're trying to create with this film series, and of course the books, I don't see why that's impossible. They seem to have enough material to try and flesh out some of the basic story elements, like the Voltron or whatever the fuck those vampires are called. They have a little bit of imagination here. Why can't they do something with these characters? Why can't they make them alive? But I don't know. I don't know. I'm so far removed from this whole issue, I don't even know what to say. I'm not a girl, and I have seen comments in the previous 2 reviews that I've done of girls saying, listen, I am a girl, and trust me, this is shit. If you're one of those girls, God bless you. The world needs more people like you. You're actually in a far better position to judge this than I am, because I don't care. It's just not, I feel like a parent who has taken their kid to see a Miley Cyrus concert, and on the way back I'm being asked, well, what did you think of the concert? I don't know. I was just the ride. I was in the back reading the whole time. I don't really care. The kids seem to like it, so, who knows? It's not my thing. I will say what I have said in the previous 2 reviews, that the production team, and I mean the cinematographers, the director, they are doing a better job than I think this film series deserves. They are really trying to make this movie look and sound good. And they don't necessarily need to do that, because this is one of those franchises that is going to make money no matter what you do. But they're rising above, and they're, whether this is respectable material or not, they're being professional, and they're making it, they're doing the best job they can. And I will always give them credit for that, because I would like to see this. I think this might have actually had a different director this time. I could be wrong. But whoever is doing these movies, the cinematography and the direction, I would like to see them do a movie that is worth their talent, that a movie that deserves their talent, because I almost never notice things like that, cinematography and whatnot. I'm more of a script guy, but they have actually filled in the gaps that the screenplays in this movie leave for me, and I'm impressed by that, and I'm thankful for it, because at least something in this movie is worth something. So, unfortunately, this is just another typical Twilight review for me. All I can say is when the movie was over, my girlfriend and I went to Subway, and I got a BMT, and it was really good. So there you go. Eclipse. Who cares?